So, fun fact, while we were in Chicago, we never actually managed to see Lake Michigan. You know, giant fucking lake that takes up, like, massive amounts of space. Never saw it. Because, like I said, we were under the impression that cats were super expensive. So I was like, oh, what about Navy Pier? Maybe we can walk there. And then they were like, that's like an hour away. And I was like, maybe we can't walk there. So we didn't see the lake at all. We ended up leaving Chicago at like 5 o'clock in the morning because we had a 13-hour drive to Long Island. It's a good thing we did leave that early though, because getting out of Chicago is a little bit more confusing than getting in. Personally, I kind of wish we had more time to spend in Chicago. I really like the city. I would never be able to live there because I'm not meant for big cities and I would die. But it was really nice. I'd love to go back, check out the city some more. But so we drove. Indiana and Ohio are just as boring, going through the second time as they were the first. Pennsylvania was kind of painful just because you're constantly switching elevations. So, like, after an hour, you're like, oh my god, my ears hurt so much. Why is this happening? I'm a good person. Yeah, so that was kind of shitty. And I will say this Chicago may have 7 lanes of traffic going in the same direction, but at least their roads make sense. Because trying to get into Long Island, the New York City area, was confusing as fucking terrifying. Because, like, 1 minute you'd be on the road and it would say, you know, going towards the George Washington Bridge. And then suddenly you're not going towards the George Washington Bridge. But then you are again. But then you aren't. But then you are. But then you aren't. It was really, really made no sense. And then the toll on the George Washington, $13. Holy shit. I thought the $3 toll in New York was bad. I will never complain about that again. And then the toll to get on the bridge in Long Island is another $7. And this is probably only funny to us, but we had been in the car forever. And I think it's called like Throngs Neck Bridge or something like that. Except when we looked up, we thought it's a thongs. We had been in the car for 13 hours because of slack, so we thought it was hilarious. When I, get out your thongs, we're going over the thong bridge. So yeah, that was kind of funny. We get to the hotel and realize there's absolutely nothing around us. It's Hotel Coliseum, a whole lot of nothing. And we're like, well, shit. Because our checkout time the next day is 11 o'clock, and the game is at 7. So that's 8 hours, and we now have to dick around somewhere. We decide we don't feel like trying to find somewhere to eat, so we just get room service. We figured the appetizers would be kind of small. We were all super hungry, so we all got like a burger. I got a veggie burger. I got some nachos, and they got some chicken fingers. The appetizers were easily the size of Africa. So, we didn't really eat all of them, and then we get the bill, and it was $90 for food. Yeah, room service is expensive. So anyway, the next day we get up, we check out, and we realize we're not actually as in the middle of nowhere as we thought, which is good. So we find a mall, stick around there for probably 4 hours. We went to the Disney store, and I was buying something, and as I was, like, I get to the checkout, like, the guy's like, oh, how are you today? I was like, oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you? And he just stops, he's like, I'm good. Thank you for asking. I'm like, you're welcome? Okay. So then, we went to another store that sold like games that are supposed to like strengthen your mind or whatever. And like as I'm walking over, I hear like Veronica saying to the guy like, "Do people really not say that here?" Because apparently she asked him how he was doing, and he was just like, "What? Nobody asks that." So he's like, "Yeah, no, not New York. They don't say that." And like the part of me that's always worked in retail, like just wanted to be like, "Oh my God, come here, come here. Let me hug you. It's okay. It's gonna be alright. It'll be fine." Seriously, New York. Ask people how they're doing. That goes a long way. Acknowledge them as people. It's nice. It's courteous. But so he's like, so you're obviously from out of town. Where are you from? We're like, oh, we're from Maine. And he goes, oh, I was like, you should come. We're a lot nicer there, apparently. And he goes, well, yeah, no, I've been to Maine, but I've also heard that, like, when you bury things, they come back to life, like small children and animals. And we're like, Stephen King. Right. We're like, yeah, we've also got killer clowns and elevators full of blood and hotels. But yeah, it's fine. We're fine. We're nice people, other than, that But so that was kind of funny. And then another thing is in Maine, probably in New England, but I know at least in Maine, if you're walking down the street or you're walking down a hallway or something and you see someone, you smile and nod kind of awkwardly at them, because if you don't, then you're being kind of rude and they're like, wait, you're not going to acknowledge my existence? Like, it's just a thing you do, you smile. Like, even if you have no idea who the person is, it's super awkward, you still. Or at least smile, you acknowledge them. They do not do that in big cities. So, we're like smiling head bobbing. People are like, okay, I'm not going to look at anyone. I'm just going to walk, make no noise, pretend that I don't exist. Awesome. So, yeah, that was a little awkward at times. So then we decided to make a sign for Boychuk and Johnson. So on one side it said, destroy Chuck, we miss you, and it had the Boston symbol and the Islanders symbol. And then on the other side, it said, Johnson, baby, come back to Boston, with a huge heart. It was funny because we were in Walmart and we bought like these like shiny like star or shiny letter things that were like sparkly, and it said that they were self-adhesive. So we're like, sweet, we don't have to buy glue or anything. They're more like post-it notes. They didn't really stick, so we had to go back and find glue. However, we also found markers there that are the scented ones. See, like back when you were in like elementary school and like you had the markers, you'd be like, oh my god, it really does smell like blueberries, guys. And the teachers are trying to get you to actually like just do artwork with them, and you're busy like shoving it up your nose. I found those. They still exist. I bought them because I'm a weirdo. But anyway, so we're sitting in the Staples parking lot making the sign because we don't have anywhere else to do it. And then we decided to drive over to the Coliseum a couple hours early because we got nothing else to do. And people were actually tailgating, which was kind of entertaining. So like the guys next to us were playing beer pong. Some people behind us were cooking hot dogs. It was kind of entertaining. But we're at the mall. We stopped at Brookstone and bought these little speakers. They come with a suction cup. And they stick to anything. It's a Bluetooth speaker, and they're waterproof. So you can bring it in the shower, which is really why we bought them. For the shower part. But we had been in the car all day. I was really fucking bored, and I'm a dumbass. So I decided to stick the speaker to my forehead. And then after a minute, I was like, ow, this actually really kind of hurts, and I peel it off, and it now basically looks like I gave myself a hickey on my forehead because it busted a bunch of blood vessels. So now I have this, I don't know if you can see it, but I have this large red circular mark right here on my forehead because I'm a dumbass. So that happened. So anyway, we decided to go into the game, and because they opened the store a little early, so we went down and like I got my Letty shirt. I was really pumped, and they got their Boychuk shirts. Then we waited around forever, and down in their little basement area, it was kind of funny. They have like a Mexican food place, and the funny thing is that it's called Gole, so it's spelled goalie, but it's Gole -E with a little thing over it. Kind of made my life. I totally took a picture. But yeah, so then the game.